Hello, everybody, and welcome to... Sorry, that was the
Welcome
unspooled.
to us talking about old episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation right before we come on camera.
Yeah, as is tradition here. You don't need to know what we were talking about. But
I
today
thought they were entitled.
I mean, everyone's entitled these days, Kyle. There's a new character I'm trying out. It's called Kids These Days, guy. If people tune in late and they don't know that I'm doing a character, they just think this is me. It's not a far stretch though, but a pretty toxic character to try out. Maybe I'll try out a nicer character.
Either way.
Yeah. How about today I try out a professional character that says, we're the motion design hotline, and usually on this show we answer people's After Effects and motion design problems, turn it into content, turn it into actionable solutions. If you have one of those problems and you're watching this in the future, you can use the form in the description, or you can get at Kyle and I anywhere on the internet. Wait, who are we? I'm Evan Abrams. He's Kyle Hamrick. Oh,
Hi.
boy.
Our names are literally on the screen. It's fine. They can read.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. I need to start having more faith in the audience. That's what I need to start doing. We're not some kind of TBS program that has to tell you what's happening when we go to commercial and then we come back from commercial. Brandy, how could you say that to me? Brandy, that thing you said to me.
Well, speaking of which, we should probably give a recap of what we did last week.
Sorry. Previously on Motion Design Hotline. Milk into money? What are you talking about, Kyle?
Before we dive fully into that, in case you are a person that does not already know what's happening here, and you just somehow stumbled into these two idiots yapping at you, you can always go to Motion Design Hotline, which is, of course, Evan,
a real website for real people.
I couldn't have timed that better. And you can see all of our
first bites going over here.
You can see all of our fabulous back episodes, find project files, cool hats, whatever does it for you.
They are cool hats.
We are often over on Adobe Live, but this week we're on the pirate feed, so we're just doing some stuff for funsies. So we are hopping into an idea animating Milk into Money, which was just sort of an offhand comment that we made. And now we decided to make that into a thing. Because, we're working through the conceptual process of turning one thing into another thing, which can be done in a lot of different ways. And maybe, Evan, if you want to grab my screen real quick, you can kind of see. Last week, we just kind of did a bunch of ideas. And of course, some of that devolved into silliness as well, as you can see. But we just did a lot of brainstorming, mind mapping stuff, kind of looked for some visual ideas, came up with a lot of just conceptual stuff, and tried to just get it all out so that we would sort of know where to go with this stuff. I have done some grabbing of various 3D objects that I'm going to play around with a little bit today. I'm going to try out a little bit of text animation stuff. Evan, I forget exactly what direction you are going to try to go here, but we're both going to be kind of exploring our own ideas for here. And today we're just going to be kind of roughing things out, seeing what works, which is an important part of the process. It's pretty rare that you just jump right in and make the perfect thing. You need to kind of do sketches, basically. And so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, we're in the middle episode now, essentially. Yeah, that's where we're at. This is a middle thing. Let me open up Milanote so I can talk intelligently about the stuff that we're doing. I think I had planned to try to do some two-dimensional, some faux 2D ideas. But
you're doing kind of the cylinder, like the glass to coin, maybe. I know you explored a little last time.
Yeah, I mean, what is a cylinder but a rectangle that no one looks too closely at? But so that type of thing we might be jumping at. So it's tough to say what we're gonna do. And we might do and reject a bunch of things. That's one of the joys of doing this on a stream, because no one's yelling at me to produce something fast. We can make,
and that's why I called it sketches, because whether you're doing it on a piece of paper or doing it in your software of choice, like sometimes you have to just kind of like try a thing and be like, yeah, that doesn't really work the way I thought, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's all fine. Okay, so yeah, let's I don't know. We'll just kind of knock back and forth between the screens. I'm I'll go to my screen real quick.
Okay. I
So
will. I'm going to look for some a typeface that I like while you're doing that.
okay, so I think my ideas that kind of stood out to me, I wanted to do kind of glass cylinder becomes, hold on, becomes, that's an arrow. Maybe I'll just zoom in. Let's zoom in over there. There we go. So glass cylinder becomes coin pile, perhaps. But the flow, and this is kind of what I like to do whenever I'm doing this, try to figure out the beats of what that would be.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that is, let's start with like a clear glass, and then glass is filled, therefore it is milk. Therefore milk. That way we know it has turned into that thing. Maybe we have like a dunk, maybe a dunking action takes place, so we get some splash, dunking and splash. Feel free to delete
Duncan splash.
Yeah, the old Duncan splash. But really, we could delete number 3 because that beat doesn't necessarily have to be here. But and then at that point, eventually, yada 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 coins. So this is. So I think like if I'm doing a dunking and splashing, then the thing that I could be like, what dunks becomes coin, because so that could be something, or if it's dunk and splash, glass empty now, and then
I like the idea of someone only listening to you, and you just kind of sound insane.
Yeah, well, that's actually the lived experience of my wife, who is in a different room trying to do work. So, dunk and splash, glass empty now. Glass collapsed to thin wafer. Coins! Exclamation point. or more coin fall? Question mark. Or pop up? Question mark. And then can I loop this back around? Probably, because ideally, I mean, the ideal situation of pile of coins is like, oh boy, and have an open Illustrator before you start saying words. Yeah, I gotta open the stuff. I like these horrifying eyeball things that I'm greeted with when we open Illustrator these days.
And a nice tasty bit of gelato.
Gelato. Sì, molto bene. Oh, all of our Italian viewers left. That's interesting. They didn't want none of this. All right, because I think to me the ideal kind of coin display looks something like like this, right? Like it's pile of coins with coin, and then like maybe potentially this coin is like that, right? Like that's pretty obviously pile of coin. I don't think we need any more detail than that.
Yep, that's pretty clear.
I think it's pretty clear what's going on around here. And I'm in Canada, so this has to be a toonie. I'm contractually obligated to.
You folks do have the most delightful names for your money.
That's true.
Kudos on that.
I mean, you guys have the sawbuck. That's something, isn't it?
True. Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Is that different from your regular dollar?
Well, that's the dollar bill that has sharp edges that slice your fingers off whenever you spend.
A weapon. I'm often told that we're weaponizing the American currency, but now I understand completely. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, that's yeah, we got loonies, we got toonies. Usually I say we got doubloonies, but we don't. That's not a real thing. The doubloon is a pirate currency for pirates. And we are, of course, a nation founded by murderous fur traders, not pirates. That's a different thing, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I was recently reminded of Canadian history for some reason. It was like, didn't your country used to be completely owned by one of the early corporations? Like, it's true. And the corporation had an army, and they used it to fight a bloody war against the other corporation that was trying to take over this place. there was there was literally a war between the Hudson's Bay Company and I believe it was the Northwest Company, that fought a bloody engagement until one of them absorbed the other one in a forced merger. But yeah, anyway, yada yada. Now we're Canada, so there's that.
I mean, that doesn't altogether sound too different from us.
Yeah, but people just kind of forget about that part of our history. People kind of forget about that part. Well, I was reminded recently that so Canada basically burst onto the world stage in like World War I, right? That's like, hey guys, we're here. We're a country too. And then proceeded to rack up war atrocities more than any other country during that war. More than Germany, the mustard gas people. Which is pretty crazy when you think about it. It's like, what did you guys get famous for? Being more brutal than the worst guy. Wow. How? Why? Why were you like that? But you know,
yeah.
Again, you have to remember that they put out a call for amongst the people who came there explicitly to escape a life of rules. To be like, guys, do you want to go on a cool adventure? Tell me more. What are we doing on it? Tell me more about the adventure. But all right, so okay. Here's a pile of coins. I think this really sums up pile of coins. All right.
Yeah. The one lean.
Yeah. You get some leaning coins. You know what's up with these coins. I mean, you could even do like a kind of thing like that, but that's looking a little bit ostentatious. I think if we lean a coin like this, now we're all right. Anyway, that's tower of coins.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with someone about just design stuff generally, and about how fundamentally boring my way of drawing is. That it's like, so Evan, how do you draw stuff? Well, I kind of make one shape, and then I make a second shape, and then I make shapes that are slightly different sizes than those, but in ratios to each other. So everything is in a perfect sixth, eighth, fifth, fourth, half, third type. Yeah, type of life. Like, you don't organically draw things? I'm not sure what you mean by that. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're saying a different kind of language than me. Okay, so that's a pile of coins. So if I'm going to go that direction. Now, the other thing is, like, okay, let's go back to that list of words that I was saying. More coins fall/pop up. So how would I go from pile of coin to glass? I mean, they essentially just have to merge into each other. So they could just do like a squash and stretch merge. Okay. So anyway, that's an idea. That's a flow. That's seven steps from milk to money and back again by Evan Abrams. So we've got that idea. Now this could of course have different sort of permutations of what that means. But I might as well draw some of it, I guess. How's that font search going with you, Kyle?
It's going okay over here. I found a few that I like, and one of them that is, let me maximize this for you here. I was just kind of looking at a few different options. Some of them are a little more straight-laced. Some of them are pretty wacky. Some of them, like, clearly, this is kind of how I usually do these. I just write out what I think will be the major things I will need, and I just want to see them both in all caps and normal, because sometimes, like this right here, I think that looks great with all caps, right? It's like pretty mono spaced as well. And so that feels like some good animation potential. But then obviously this right here, this looks terrible. So if you were to choose this, you would clearly go with the,
Yeah,
you know,
like
capitalized and lowercase there.
one of them seems very cowboy.
Mhm.
Like sometimes the money looks like honey, and that's confusing,
A
right?
little bit, yeah. Like something like this over here, like this is fun, but to the point where it's not really legible. So I don't think that's really a good, thing. So this one was kind of standing out to me. This one's kind of standing out to me. I really like what's happening here, where these feel like shapes almost as
Oh
much
yeah.
as type. And I would definitely be using the caps on those. Um, I this one is like it's not as exciting, but I have a lot of options here, and some of them have a lot of contrast going on,
Hmm.
which I think could be interesting from an animation standpoint. I could, dive into this might be one that works with the kind of sort of variable fonts capabilities that exist right now. So I don't want to like fully, commit to that yet, but I kind of wanted to keep that as an option in my brain.
Hmm.
Um, I think this is sort of interesting because the eye in particular, almost looks like a bottle of milk to me.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Um, and this just has a very sort of fun, cartoony thing going on. I don't usually love typefaces that are already kind of roughed up. Like,
Hmm.
um, I'd rather do that myself most of the time, just so that it's not the exact same. But that's workable,
I
And
like to
this
come in
has
and
a
rough up the fonts myself.
this has a fun vibe to it. I dropped our branding font, Azo Sans, there, and it's fine, but it's not really doing anything for me.
It's
Um,
fine.
yeah, I don't know. Do any of these pop out to you?
I think one of the ones that I really like is I like the well, how do we say this? The top middle one.
Yeah,
That one.
this
I mean,
this
yeah,
one. Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
that one's a winner. I like the one to the right of it because it looks like SpongeBob. Like that's
This. Yeah,
yeah, like that's
it's got a
that's
little
got
bit of wonkiness to it, which
yeah,
yeah,
but that feels I don't know, almost more tiki bar,
a little bit of
right?
that flavor. You're not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
This one's too flowery, so that's out.
yeah,
Uh, this is boring. This
yeah,
is boring.
yeah.
This one is like a little bit cartoony, but not cartoony enough, I feel like. So I
Yeah,
would put,
it's too bad that doesn't have a lowercase
yeah,
situation, right?
yeah. And like I could, sort of force it to have one, but just it doesn't quite. And I mean, let's be honest, like we're talking about milk. I feel like this O might have some weird connotations here. So I'm just gonna put that over here.
Yeah, that
Uh,
one.
I think it is like pretty Western, but it could work. I like the way the shapes work, but if I were going to go there, I'd probably lean more into something like this.
Yeah,
But it's possible that I could use this to kind of get myself to this flavor. Um,
yeah. Well, I think the other thing is if you're thinking of things being cowboy coded, right? There is a lot of both robbing of banks and trains, i.e., for money, and
uh-huh.
a desire for dairy and beef as part of the cowboy lifestyle. these are these are fixtures of the cowboy life. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
natural synergies.
And I'm happy to take any votes from Anda and anyone else who might be watching here. Um, I'm kind of just riffing here and seeing what pops out. Like I'm kind of going from a basic idea, and I don't have a particular style in mind yet. So sometimes this helps me just kind of help solidify what direction we're even going. Because like this is a totally different vibe from this one here.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think the other thing is that when we're thinking about milk, it's probably worth having a look at. We were talking about this off air, right? I think so. That if we cut over to Evan's screen, and then I'm going to look at Canadian dairy. Ba, 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 ba. Dairy Farmers of Canada. Da, 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 da. At least in Canada, dairy is pretty ubiquitous. Like it's a big thing, and so the branding of Canadian milk ads are like a huge thing, and like the logo and font of like Dairy Farmers of Canada is a huge bit of business that we see a lot of, and in particular, a lot of their fonts become very kind of ubiquitous. And I think in the States, it's the Got Milk campaign, right? So like these letters in this way really mean that in a big way. Got rice? What? What's the Got Rice campaign? Oh, there we go. It's an Asian pride situation. I don't like the idea of drinking Asian people. That sounds weird and bad, but still. Nothing. Oh, it's weird. It's a lowercase g.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I don't know how much you saw them, but that whole campaign definitely had a little bit of a kookiness to it, a casual, sort of intentionally silly kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So,
well, if they're going to be serious, they would say something like, "Do you have any Grey Poupon?" You know, it's not, we're trying to desnudify our lactose. Everyone's
I actually just referenced one of those commercials, I think last night, one that really sticks in my head. Aaron Burr. There's a guy sitting in a library, and he like is listening to the radio, and they ask a trivia question. The answer to it is Aaron Burr. Sorry for the spoilers, for this.
Wow.
But he's eating a peanut butter sandwich, and his mouth is all sticky, and so like they call him, and he's going, "Oh, boy," and he can't answer the question because he didn't have the milk that would have made his mouth sticky.
Wow.
Classic conundrum there.
R.I.P. to that guy.
Yep.
It's a rough way to go, but if you have to, it's just terrible that they then murdered him because of his inability to do that question. It was radio call-in shows are crazy. If a morning DJ calls you and you can't answer their riddles. I don't think I'm totally familiar with who Aaron Burr is, though.
Oh, well, that's okay. That probably changes that whole situation quite a bit.
Is he a basketballman or?
Have you seen Hamilton?
Oh, that guy. Okay, interesting. Like Aaron Burr. I don't know. I was gonna say, is he one
you
of
are in no way expected to know people that are politically relevant in the history of other countries.
Is he one of your president?
The historical jerk, I guess.
Okay, a classic American, a true patriot, Aaron Burr.
We're getting all kinds of sassy today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Welcome to the pirate feed, folks.
Avast. Ahoy. All right. Oh, you're filling the zone with 3D objects.
Well, I'm just looking at these things that I found and kind of seeing if any of them, same thing. I'm just looking at stuff and kind of seeing what pops out. Like some of these are very photorealistic, and I don't think that is as fun as like this slightly cartoony kind of low poly situation.
Right.
And I have a couple of money stacks that I found. I think, let's see, that I actually got from Adobe Stock here. And so like this one that's very cartoony and smaller here, kind of just offsetting all these so that I can kind of see them. And then there's another one that's kind of like this, but it's actually blank. which I kind of dig because I feel like maybe putting our own, making a dollar bill with like your face on it or something would be
Mm,
funny. Uh,
naturally.
yeah, let's see. I think that's probably this one. Yeah, it's just a stack o' bills with nothing on it yet and a little band, so I could add my own textures there.
Mm.
Um, especially if these were maybe not the hero elements, or maybe these are kind of the things that like help the letters change. There could be something there, but I enjoy some of these that are this is a little too photoreal for my taste, and I think all of this photoreal American bucks, not really what I'm going for.
I mean, you could
But
put a cow on the money. I feel like that
yeah,
feels like
yeah.
something.
But these are both kind of cartoony. This is kind of cartoony, and I think that fits well with sort of the vibe that seems like I'm leaning towards here.
Mm.
So that's that has some value, and I could certainly retexture any of these, but these are just good to kind of look at for me.
Feels good to look at things
Mhm.
sometimes, you know?
I might just quickly see what happens if I go from this to this with kind of a like spin and um, match cut situation.
Right.
Just to kind of see how it feels. So let's turn these fellas off, turn off my text layers, and just kind of see where it goes. Yeah, I'd like to reset my rotations, but not the other things. Because some of the scales on these were pretty wacky. Let's go ahead and there we go. So I don't think it'll be that hard to kind of get, these two things to kind of become one another.
Mm.
Pretty much the same shape there. So I'm going to tie both of these to a null and do sort of a little like situation, just see how it feels.
Right.
Right. So I'm going to make my null 3D here, and then I will parent both. Let's see. Here's my money, and here's my milk. Line things up and get these other things out of the way. Maybe just go ahead, set all these to none. And then let's parent both of these to my null. And then let's zero out these. Yep. So if we zero out the X, they'll sit right on top. I think my money is all, yep, anchor points all centered up there. Let's just spin our null a little bit and see how things are behaving. Okay, so, not quite lining up, but we're getting there. So I think that's not what's going on. Just kind of examining the money is like that, and it's lined up with the null. So the milk is, there we go. The Z is kind of wacky. Okay, so, honestly, those line up really nicely. So just a little bit of scaling or something and a spin, I feel like, you've got something going on here. Let's open a position. Go ahead and separate these. Again, I'm just riffing here, folks. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Just seeing where we go. So let's do that maybe after about 1 second. We'll bring it over to here. And we'll be money at this point, of course.
So money.
So money. You won't even know.
You don't even know how money that is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and copy paste this. Let's see. Okay, I think with some easing, we'll probably get to a nice spot. F9. Let's open this up and just bring these pretty hard, maybe all the way. We'll see. And bring these all the way. Might be a little too extreme, but that's going to be really snappy. And if you're going to do a match cut like this, often having it be really snappy is part of what makes it successful. You want to do those cuts at the fastest point. So probably like this is milk, this is money. Um, and so let's set up a little opacity relationship here where I'm going to tell, I could keyframe both of these. That'd be fine, but I am lazy. And so I'm going to do it this way, give myself some adjustability. I'm just going to link this opacity to that one, go to the beginning and type 100 minus that. And so now anytime I change the opacity of the milk, it's going to turn the money on. So if I make this into hold keyframes, milk is 0 there. Let's boop, hold keyframe. So milk, snap, did it 1 frame early. There we go. And then we'll snap it back as we get boop, let's say right there. There's my 100. And so psh, psh, even without the spin, like, you know, we're getting somewhere. Looks like you're getting maybe a reduced frame rate. I can't tell how well
that's true. You, let's do that thing where we optimize
yeah,
and then
right.
optimize.
All right. Optimizing. Boop, boop, boop. Here's that. I don't know if that works better.
Feels worse.
Okay. De-optimizing. De-optimization complete. Okay. Let's open this up. I'm going to go ahead and add the rotation on there. This will, of course, be our Y rotation, our vertical, the greens there. So let's tell that to be maybe 180, just as we go side to side here. And then I think we could rotate. Yeah, we'll go ahead and go all the way around as we come back. So we'll get kind of that same super hard ease on this one. Just grab these, push them all the way over, and then grab these two, push them all the way over. Super snappy. Maybe we'll ease back off on that. I mean, that's fun. You know, it's not like the most complex thing, but again, I'm kind of just trying this to see what works here. And maybe this is, once I get some text going again, like maybe this becomes my transition element as a wiper, you know, instead of actually transitioning the text elements themselves. Just exploring right now and seeing where things go. That's all. Welcome to any opinions here or anything.
Yeah, I'm still working some stuff out on my side here. I've been poke to Evan's screen real quick. I was drawing these various glasses with stuff falling into them. I think for my money, this is the more complicated.
I like that.
This is the better one.
Are you dunking a cookie that becomes a coin?
Well, I think the cookie is going to splash out all of the milk, so then the cylinder is empty. So then the cylinder can collapse to the bottom, and then sprawling back up as money. That feels like something. I mean, I effectively have 2 cylinders here, so that means that if this were to drain all the way to the bottom and then we looked at the top of it, then it would look like that. Two cylinders. Technically, we got 3 cylinders going on. Whoa. So there's that. Cylinder to cylinder. I was just thinking about how complex it is to make a splash 2-dimensionally.
Yeah. I've been having similar thoughts. I certainly like the idea of making a splash, although you know, just even looking at some of the little elements that are on my milk carton here, some little animated drops and like, you know, if you were going in the right style, doing something that's a little more kind of shape Larry and those aren't too hard to do. Yeah,
like there is sort of a theory around like, all right, so the volume of the thing is going uply and then we are effectively sort of you know, pinching in parts of it.
And I mean, hey, we could get deep into animating a splash and take up like 2 whole episodes with just that.
Yeah, that's true, right? Riveting. Yeah. A long time later. All right, so that was a splash. Yeah, so like if you had like a fluted object like this, then the question is, well, that's got to turn into like a thing that's fanning and splorping apart. Technical term, splorping.
Yeah, Splorpin.
Yeah,
Like it.
it's splorpin time. Uh, so they say, no, not that shape, this shape. So, really you're bloop, bloop, bloop. I think it's the same kind of idea of fire that like we're kind of turning that into tendrils that are divided. But yeah, it's I wonder if what I would end up doing is really having simple geometry and masses and then just using effects to blob them together would probably be what I would
Hmm.
end up doing. But really, it only has to show up for all of like 6 frames. So just might as well draw the 6 frames.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
And
see. That.
there, you get into something like Newton if you want. I've been pretty successful before, just like dropping a bunch of dots in there, and
Oh
then
yeah,
you can kind of blob them up afterwards. Yeah, I've done some pretty convincing cartoony liquid splashes in there before.
yeah. It could actually be displaced by a thing
Mhm.
falling onto them.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. But I was thinking I would try to come up with some other ideas than that. So I had this
Sure.
idea of like there's a carton. I don't. Is that how you spell carton? Cart
Carton.
carton
Carton.
carton. Huh. Weird. Doesn't feel right. Anyway, carton. So you pour milk out of it. You rotate to see the image on the side. Zoom into image. Inside image. It's a dollar bill portrait. Um, person drinks money. you know. Zoom into bill. That's getting weirder. That's getting more layers. Um, yeah, just trying to think. If I had to loop it back from a dollar bill, got this character on the side. Um, you know what? Okay, bill rolls up. A rolled up bill is cylinder is glass. Pour in milk. Hey, carton's back. Carton's back.
Carton's back, baby.
Carton's back. All right, there we go. So that's like 8 beats to do that idea. Um,
Well, my super lazy version is complete.
oh, good. You already nailed it.
Yep. Look how easy that becomes when you aren't really putting that much effort into the thing.
yeah.
Um, but like I said, these are sketches. I'm kind of just seeing whether there's anything here worth continuing to explore.
Yeah.
This is, if I dress it up, this could be an effective thing. Is it interesting? I don't know. Maybe it's workable, and sometimes you just have to be like, well, this is a thing that works, and I need to move forward because it's due at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
We have time to explore, so I'm probably gonna like look at another idea, but it's like this could be something if I sort of work with it. I think doing some splash or something would be fun here as well. This is not the most interesting way to approach this, I think.
Yeah. Because, like, I was trying to think of, yeah, you can always just add more to it. Like, if there's like a drag on the text as it goes by, or
Sure.
it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it just disrupted the text as it was going through, or
Yeah.
some
I think there's a
harmonizing
lot of ways to
smears.
dress this up and have it be just fine. Probably even good. But I'm going to explore another idea and see if that
Okay.
makes something that's more interesting. I don't know.
It's tough to say. We can only hope that we do interesting things. That's our
Hmm.
our mantra.
But of course, first I'm going to organize my project a little bit. My traditional structure is 1 comp, 2 pre, 3 assets. And so I'll stick my composition in there, grab all these other things here, and drop those into assets just so that I'm being tidy about stuff. and I'll probably end up throwing away a lot of these 3D models that I'm not using. But for now, these are here. They're doing something for me. I might look back at this, just kind of see. I mean, I feel like I've kind of already explored the 3D thing that is viable without like really digging, dissecting a 3D model. I
Sure.
think something at this level is about the best you're going to get just doing it directly in After Effects here. I could be scaling and stuff like that, but without yanking the models apart into a million pieces, not really going to get much further than this.
Yeah.
Um, so I might just try something that's totally different from this, like DuckTales, right?
Woohoo! That's right.
um,
DuckTales. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yep. Let me see. I'm going to stare at some of these other ideas again and just see which of these become a thing.
By observing them, which of these turns into a thing?
These milk cartons becoming a stack of gold bars. I don't know if that's. I mean, that still feels very 3D
Yeah.
centric, but we've been talking about these splashes. I wonder what, if that could be something. And I do have access to this. This is from Adobe Stock. I mean, it's not an active splash, it's a static splash. So I don't know how much that buys me.
Yeah.
I like that we added gross. I forget who it was. Theo, maybe? Somebody said milk was gross, so we wrote it down.
We took a poll and people said it was good. So,
Yep. That's true. It was a very official poll.
Mm-hmm. We looked into it.
So we talked about this a bit off camera. I really like the idea of like an origami milk carton becoming an origami cow. And like the piece of paper is a dollar bill that they're both made out of. This just feels like something that is not going to be done in After Effects with any sort of dignity.
Yeah.
And so I would love for someone else to take a stab at that idea, or if one of us wants to crack open cinema and maybe be dealing with like cloth dynamics or something, that is above my skill level in 3D. So I will not be exploring that idea, even though I really like it.
Any sort of dignity. what a grotesque indignity that would be suffered. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm over here.
I know that I would not do it any justice.
Yeah. Okay. What am I doing over here? I'm doing something. It's.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm trying to make.
I hope you got more than I do.
Yeah. What is Evan doing over there? All right. I was like, oh, well, what if there is a milk carton and it's got like stuff going on? So, which side is that? This side or this side? I didn't even look. Calling them side 1 and side 2, that's your first problem. Here's your first problem. You're calling them the sides 1 and sides 2. That's not helping you. There we go. So I am taking a riff on the really depressing, oh no, someone's gone missing milk.
Well, we could put fun stuff on it.
Sure. What's gone missing? A cow.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Our viewers.
Hey, when we're not on Adobe Live, it's just you and me in the seat of our pants, and and the true fans. True fans are here. Let's see. Money is missing.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
Love it.
What's missing? My interest. Harsh. Yeah.
Um,
It's true. True
this is
fans are
also
here.
a very 3D sort of idea, although maybe it's something that could happen with 2D stuff. Um, I'm kind of looking at the models available. They're all closed already, so you could maybe do a cap twist off, but like you could have a milk pour and then you have coins or bills falling out of the milk carton. It could be something.
I guess it was more of a feature of our podcast where you would say, "Is this something?"
And yes, and we know that you're here, and we
Yeah,
appreciate it very much.
yeah. Makes us seem less insane on the replay. All right, so there's this. So
Yeah,
the
so
thing
where I like that. Are you kind of doing a similar? You're
kind
going for
of.
the dunk still?
Oh, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not dunking anything over here.
Oh, okay.
I am doing. I wanted to see, like, all right, if I want to zoom into this zone,
Mhm.
how do I want to work that? Picture zone. That's what I'll call that. So I'm just trying to think organizationally.
I like depending on what you end up depicting for the money. I like Anda's idea that the money is missing because if that is the thing in the picture, you could set up a loop point pretty easily
Yeah.
where the picture on the carton is your last frame.
Yeah. That's, so if we're going to zoom into that, yeah, I think.
As we talked about last week a little bit, we don't really have an objective here like you would for a real project. And so in some ways it makes it a little harder because we don't have any boundaries. Like we're not really trying to accomplish anything beyond this abstract idea that we have. And so we sort of end up just
Yeah.
riffing like this.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place to be in. Yar.
Yeah.
Wait. What's going wrong? I'm like, oh, why is this stuff not lining up? Like, oh yeah, that's right. I didn't.
Another excellent suggestion: a child with his back towards the camera, and when he turns his head, his face is money. It is indeed creepy. But that feels like it's creating a little bit more of a metaphor here, which I like.
Yeah.
You want to animate a full turnaround?
A full turnaround of a human child. Yeah, would be
With coin face.
Well, I mean, next week we'll get more into into that. Wait a minute. How is that where the anchor point is? Riddle me this, Batman. Oh, right, because the position of I must have bumped the position of this. It's like, what? What is happening? Why is this not ending up in the middle of the target here? There we go. Something like there, maybe? No, that feels wrong. I'm just trying to zoom into the space. There we go. Okay, let's see how that feels.
Yeah, that's something.
Okay, and now if at the same time, the internal stuff of this is doing that. Well, not exactly that. Do that, but better. Yeah, because I think as long as these are aligned, ooh, kind of. Ooh, kind of. Oh yeah, I must have disabled snap on this at one point. That's fine. Are you ding dongs not lined up? What's going on? Oh yeah, there's still a bit of a. Oh yeah, because there's still a little bit of Oh, they're compounding. That's what's going on. Like, why is that happening? Oh, yeah, because they're separate entities. Duh. Godoy. Godoy's self. Stop parenting things to each other. Godoy. There we go. That's what we
That
want.
felt very taunty. Stop parenting things to each other.
Stop parenting yourself. Hey, latchkey kids, stop parenting yourself. That would be pretty rough. I got to deal with this. There we go. That's feeling a little bit more correct. All right. Then as long as that's so that's the idea. We're going into the zone. So as long as what's in the zone is scaling as the same at the same time that the other zonal elements are going on, that might be a thumbs up for that. Yeah, so it just has to go from here to there, or maybe that's not so bad that we compounded in there. Because alternatively, like I want it to feel 3D, but without the hassle of actually having to make a window into a 3D world, right? Because really, kind of like if it was like this, and if there were money attached to it, or moneyness.
A real sense of moneyness.
Yeah, exactly. A moneyed sensibility about it. Okay, that is distinct enough from the outside world. That'll be fine. Okay, so let's just parent this to the head, and then put it behind the head, and then put it out like this. Okay, that's kind of like the space that the dollar would occupy. We do get to see some of the border of that. But do we want to see the money when we come inside? When we step inside the zone, we want to see it like that. Yes. Okay. What else would be helpful to know about this piece of money? Does it need defining markers? Probably.
We have a question here is, will we have time for styling next episode? Well, if you mean the next episode of this, whatever this concept is, certainly. Will we get that far in the next one? We'll see. This
we will
upcoming
be both
episode,
styling and profiling.
True. Our next week we'll be back on Adobe Live. I guess we're almost at an hour here, so we could probably be kind of winding things down. We'll be back on Adobe Live, and we are going to be exploring / mocking. We'll see the trend of corporate Memphis as a sort of a style of animation, particularly maybe design more broadly. So we'll be talking about that, and of course doing some examples in that style. So those will be styled a certain way. Will either of these have the particular old school green VHS blur posterized timeness? I'm definitely going to make a note about that, and perhaps that is exactly the aesthetic that I'll go, just to kind of see what happens. I will say that on mine, just while we've been watching Evan, I transferred my existing idea to a vertical format, and I think it's a little more interesting there, just because it's pretty much the same thing, but I think I'll have the ability to kind of like leave the tumble more in motion, and it gives a little more opportunity for the text to change in a more interesting way, I think, instead of just an easy wipe. So I may honestly, like, I think what I'm working on has some legs if I keep exploring it and pushing it. But I'm definitely screenshotting your comment here and adding that to Milanote as part of what I'm working on.
Yeah. Whereas I simply descending into madness. Let's see. I parent this to that. These are going to look at that. All right. Okay. So, what have I got? Am I looking at mine? I don't remember. We're
on your screen right now.
Okay. Carton. Side of carton. Zoom into the carton. Money. Right?
Yeah.
That's the idea. And then the background of this, right, is being revealed inside the window of that. So that's the idea. Now, whether or not that's coming from a null that's controlling these, or these are all in a pre-comp of some kind. Like this whole dollar bill scene could be yawns. Pre-composed, so that's all fine and good to do in here. Like I don't see any reason why it needs to be linked to this as the controller. So I think that's in good shape. But yeah, I think that'll do. That's my level of exploration of this idea. I think because I'm pretty confident on executing any of the other idea that I had. Like, there's nothing in that I'm finding technically a bugaboo to differentiate for me. It's literally just you just got to do the work of it, which I've been. For those of you who don't know, I'm back in college, so I have to do a presentation to my class about a furniture designer that I like, and I'm going to tell them about the Eames, Ray and Charles Eames, and they have so many great quotes. And one of the quotes that I really like is, "Genius? No, I just work harder." It's one of my favorite things from them. That's like, nothing. There's nothing special about anything we do here. You just have to keep working.
I feel like that feels timely.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like, and this is a philosophy that goes back so deep into everything that they do. But the important thing to remember is that they were also obsessive weirdos. And for example, to create bent plywood, they literally invented a new way of curing glued wood. And in order to perfect the design in their, I think, one or two bedroom apartment in LA, they were stealing power from the grid, illegally hacking into the transformer outside during their off hours. Like, one of them was a painter at MGM at the time, I think, and would like scale the telephone pole, wrench into the box, and splice into the
Love it.
that. Like, all right, I got the hook. Throw the hook, and then sparks everywhere. Like, we're good. Yeah, all to satisfy their insane inventions that they were doing. But from madness comes greatness sometimes, at least in their case, Okay, well, I guess we're kind of hitting the hour here. So, Kyle, let's do a recap on what you've got going on.
Sure. So, like I said, I tried just shifting my whole thing vertically, and honestly, I like it a lot more in this format. Right now, I'm still doing the same sort of like, just fairly simple thing there. But I think this really opens it up for me to do more with the text. Whereas the horizontal version, like, unless I start, I don't know, moving one of these way up, like, it's just a wipe. And like, I could make the text be sort of bouncy and bubbly as well. But I feel like it's going to kind of get in the way here.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I think, has a lot more interesting energy. This kind of gives me more freedom to spin the thing more, and like I now need to do something to make the text transition, because you don't get the ease of just a wipe there.
Yeah.
So and yes, I'm glad the chat agrees. I think this maybe has some legs, and it's still a lot of work to be done, but like, it kind of feels like, as a sketch, like, I could push forward with this one.
I think in my mind, it should be opposite, that money is what is up and milk is what is down.
Yeah, well, that's easy enough.
Because as the milk descends, you could have like a blorp of milk coming out of the top, like, comes out of the top. And then as the money goes up, it could like shower some money out of itself as the motion of going up, like, whoosh, comes up.
Well, look at this. Thanks to my little rig, it was just that easy.
Note applied
Um,
immediately.
yeah.
This
Yeah. There we go. Done and done. And yes, I like that. That does. I could take this cap off and have the cap maybe kind of like maybe the cap's just gone in general, but yeah, you could have sort of a little splash trail that follows it, and then whoosh, a dollar bill that sort of slips out.
yeah,
Agree. There's some value there.
there's something here. Perfect. Awesome. Let's go back to the two shot. I think people saw enough of what I was doing to get the vibe of that experimentation. But yeah, next week we're back on the main feed at Adobe Live talking about corporate Memphis, which was an art style that dominated a lot of my career, percentage wise. Continuing, it'll take a long time for any other thing to supplant it. You know, if we're looking at our like amount of time playing in whatever space, I guess, or maybe I don't know. I leaned way heavier into a flatter vibe for a lot of my stuff, mostly for budget reasons.
Yeah,
Flat.
it's easier to make usually.
Yeah, flat is often cheaper. People were shooting for Facebook and they land at the Dollar Tree. So that's the idea. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that and exploring some techniques and ideas from that era. That we can hopefully take forward into a lot of other work moving forward, and hopefully that'll be inspirational and useful to everybody. But yeah, till that time, I'm Evan Abrams. He's Kyle Hamrick. You can find us at EC Abrams on the internet, at Kylosaurus Rex on the internet. Find our stuff at motiondesignhotline.com.
Real website, real people.
Real website for
drill.
real people. But until next time, stay creative, be kind to each other, and we'll see you all around the internet.
Cool. Thanks for watching. Take care. Be nice to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh yeah, I still hit the same button.